Buenos días, estudiantes. Hoy hablamos de los números del 20 al 100. So we're learning about numbers again today. We stopped at 20 last time, but there are more numbers to go. So we want to start with 20 today. Okay. Now, 20, we've learned and I've seen on some of your work, the very pesky little thing we want to do is switch these two letters around. Veinte is what it would be spelled, but that's completely wrong. We need 20. So remember, keep that in mind, how that's spelled. Now, from here on, much like in English, 20, 21, 22, 23, there's a pattern. Well, there's a pattern in Spanish too. So once we learn the tens place on a lot of these words, we're not going to need much more. So from here all the way to 100, as long as you know 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, you're good to go. And you've got the rest of the numbers set all the way to 100. That's very handy. Let's take a look here first. Spelling might be a little issue. Spelling might be a problem, but we're going to work that out. Okay. So 20, now look what happens when I add 1 to 21. We have 21. 21. 20 with an E becomes 20 with an E. The reason behind that, I'm going to disappear for a second. If you remember with our teens, dieciséis, do you remember that? Dieciséis. Remember that was diez, y, seis, 10 and 6. Well, the same thing is going on here. 20 and 1. Okay? The same thing's happening here. Now, we'll get into why we have to change and all that and later. But right now, just recognize that all of these are 20 and 1, 20 and 2, 20 and 3. But said smushed together. 21, 22, 23. Now, notice I have 21, 22, 23, and then I have these squigglies. These squigglies represent the ones in between. And then I have 26 here, and then more squigglies. The reason I put that there is because these three, notice they have accents. It's not just 20 and then the number. You have dos con acento, 23 con acento, 26 con acento. The other ones in between, they're just going to have 20 in the number. So no accent at all. 24, 25, 27, 28, 29. So once you have those, now life is going to be a little bit easier. Because once you get to 30, notice I only have one example of the numbers that are not the 10 space numbers. 30, and then I have 31. Notice 30 y uno. It's three separate words, 30 and 1. That is the pattern from here, 31, all the way to 99 over there. So the only time you smush them together are in the teens, starting with dieciséis, and then the 20s, 20, going from 21 to 29, and then after that, three separate words. You just have to know the 30, and then the next one, 40, and then the next one, 50. So 30 is 30, 30, 40, okay? 31, of course, being, okay? 40, 50, okay? These two, 60 y 70. These are very confusable because they are only one letter off. But there's a trick. 60 represents seis here, and 70 represents siete. Okay? So seis and siete, that's your 6 and your 7. If you just poke the eyes out, boop, boop, you now have ses for sesenta and sete for setenta. That's how I remember it. Hopefully you will use that too. Or if you've got some other form of memory with that, let me know. I'd like to hear it. From setenta, we go over here to ochenta. I will shift the world slightly so you can see it. Ochenta. You can see that, yes. Ochenta, noventa, y cien. Now, again, from 30 all the way from 30 to 99, this is the way you write it. 3 separate words. 31, 32, 41, 42, 71, 77, 99. That's how you write them out. Okay? When we get to Cien, we have to stop for now. Because after Cien, there are a few more changes that we will do. Just like this, not hard changes. But right now, Cien will be our ending point. Right? I hope you've enjoyed this. I will see you later. Hasta luego.